This essay example, as well as thousands of others, is available in text format on our website for free and without registration. Simply Google Ivy Panda Free Essays.
Food problems are very evident, mostly in developing countries, which are still unstable politically and mostly economically. The majority of the people in these countries suffer from starvation and, in the long run, even die out of this prolonged hunger. Most of these developing countries are found in Africa. Unlike these developing countries in Africa that are suffering from food problems, the developed countries rarely encounter such problems. There are many factors that contribute to these food shortages, but the main cause in developing nations is unstable political structures. The political stability of a given country determines its governance. Therefore, if the governance of a particular country is poor, then its people suffer. The governance of many developing countries is unstable, and that is why its people are experiencing food problems. For instance, these governments have not yet advanced in terms of technology in the agricultural sector. This leads to low yields of farm products in the entire country, which eventually leads to food shortage since the little food produced cannot match the growing population. In developed countries, there are stable governments that have really advanced in their level of technology in all sectors of the economy. The agricultural sector is one of them. The agricultural sector in these countries is performing very well, and the farmers in these respective countries are able to engage in mass production of food products. When there is mass production of food products in a given country, automatically, the prices of those food products become cheaper and hence become affordable to every citizen of the country. The other major reason why there is a problem with food, mostly in developing countries, is that there is a high unemployment rate that is making them unable to purchase the food that is available in the marketplaces. Only a few individuals who are at least financially stable can purchase these products, and they find it hard to share their acquired food because they only find enough to keep themselves and their respective families. This problem would be solved well if the governments of these respective countries could try their best to create jobs for their respective citizens, mostly those that do have families they are supporting. When the parents of a family are jobless, they automatically cause their children to suffer food problems and other problems that are related to their lack of employment, such as decent housing, clothing, and basic education. The governments of these respective countries can even give their unemployed citizens financial support to start their own businesses if they find that the jobs in their countries are scarce and cannot manage to employ all of their citizens. When these individuals open their own businesses, they will at least earn a living out of it, which will reduce the food problems that they are undergoing in their respective families. The other factor that has led to food problems in these developing countries is natural calamities such as drought. Natural calamities are almost impossible to prevent, but scientists have been in the business of trying to find ways they can control these natural calamities, such as drought, by even advising the governments to encourage citizens to plant more trees so that they can get some rain to solve this problem. Trees are scientifically believed to help generate rain in a particular region because they act as catchments for water. The developing countries are reluctant to this fact, and instead of planting more trees, some greedy and selfish people are cutting down the trees for commercial purposes, not caring that they are affecting the future of their respective country at large. The governments of the developed countries have formulated laws that harshly punish anyone who is found cutting down trees without prior consent from the government, and hence, they are enjoying the benefits that come from the trees, including rain and even a fresh environment. The agricultural sectors all over the world depend highly on water, and hence, if there are no rains, they have to suffer or be forced to find alternative ways of getting water to irrigate their farms. As earlier mentioned, if the governments of these particular countries do not have advanced technology in the agricultural sector, then they will lack an alternative if they are faced with a natural calamity such as a drought. The other issue that is leading to food problems in developing countries is the overgrowing population, as it is making it impossible for the government to afford high-quality care for the entire citizens. When the population of a country increases, there are some associated problems that will automatically arise, such as an increase in the level of unemployment, which leads to food problems in developing countries. In addition, the agricultural products that are being produced cannot be sufficient to satisfy the large population in that particular country, and this creates a food shortage that leads to an increase in the prices of the agricultural products, hence becoming unaffordable to the poor in that country. Other problems are also associated with food problems in developing countries, including low levels of education and health. People are not able to find time to go to school but rather look for ways they can obtain their daily bread, which, in the long run, leads to unemployment since they lack the qualifications needed in the major economic sectors of the country. Furthermore, the health of the people of these developing countries that are experiencing food problems is at risk because there are those major diseases that are associated with lack of food that are leading to high mortality rates. It is high time that the developed countries came to the aid of these developing countries to offer them food support and also advise them on how they can solve these food problems. They should educate them to conserve their environment always, plant trees, have family planning, and develop entrepreneurial skills instead of remaining unemployed. By this, they will be helping the developing countries to deal with their cause reason for food problems and not just the problem. In the long run, they will be in a position to support themselves and even other developing countries that may still be suffering from food problems. The United Nations has been in the business of solving the food problems in developing countries, but on their own, they cannot effectively and efficiently solve them. That is why there are non-governmental organizations that are being formed to help solve this food crisis, such as the Red Cross. If all these parties that we have discussed above can unite their efforts in support of developing countries, then food problems will come to an end. Did you like this, the world's food problems solving sample? To get more works like this one, make sure to check out the free database of academic paper examples at ivpanda.com. You will find thousands of samples for all your study needs, without even having to register.